Project 613, day 98, continuing on the laws of kosher. So we know what is considered kosher meat. Now comes the preparation for the kosher meat. The laws with regard to ritual slaughter is going to be learned in a few days' time. Today we're talking about the actual meat, the animal. Once it's been slaughtered, can one eat the animal right away? The answer is no. Not because it needs to be cooked, but because before we eat the animal, we need to make sure that the meat that we are eating, that animal must be not treif. Now, treif is a term that's used colloquially for anything that's non-kosher, but that is not the exact term of that's not the proper usage for the word treif or treifa. Treifa means that an animal is injured or ill to the point that it will not survive this illness or this injury. Which means if you have a perfectly kosher cow, which was slaughtered in accordance with Jewish law, however, if it is discovered that there is an injury in this cow, or in the sheep, or in the chicken, that would render it treifa, according to Jewish law, it would render it injured beyond the point of healing, we are not allowed to eat from this meat. That is what's called treif meat. So that's the first mitzvah for today. We're not allowed to eat an animal that has been injured or that is ill to the point that it will not heal from this injury. And the definitions of this injury and these illnesses is laid out in the code of Jewish law. We are not allowed to eat the limb of a living animal. So in simple terms, if you want to eat meat, go ahead and do so. You have to make sure that the animal from which this meat comes from, this animal is actually dead. And you should not separate the limb or the meat from the animal before it is dead. Moving right along, we are forbidden from consuming blood. The blood of an animal is not kosher. Therefore, before we eat from the meat, we need to salt the meat in order to drain it of all of the blood. This idea that the Jews are forbidden from eating blood, drinking blood, came to the forefront, especially during medieval times when the blood libel was very popular. There were those who hated the Jews, and therefore they would accuse the Jews of using Christian blood for the matzahs. And one of the great defenses against this type of libel was the fact that Jews are not allowed to eat blood at all. This idea of not eating blood also leads to the fact that when we eat eggs, raw eggs, we need to check them. You have to crack open the egg and you have to check it to make sure that there's no blood spot. There are certain forbidden fats in the animals. It's called chalev, and they are identified in the Torah and in Jewish law. We have to make sure to remove that before we eat from the meat. And finally, we are forbidden from eating the sciatic nerve, the gid hanoshe. Thank you all for watching. We'll learn more tomorrow.